Again, good evening, everyone. So, if you prioritize knowledge and intelligence, money will continue to come. So, with this quote by Mr. Wilson Law, I would like to begin our talk show named Conversation with Consultants with episode 9 of our guest talk series today. So, I'm P. Shravan Kumar, the founder of SK Associates and Group.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Aditi Jain, Strategic Alliance Advisor of SK Associates and Group, and we both are your hosts for today's talk show. So, before we begin our talk show, let's take a moment to introduce SK Associates and Group. We are an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMED Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs globally, covering areas such as compliance, operations, marketing research, developing human capital, and operations. Our passion lies in budding these entrepreneurs, bring into their dreams into life, and contribute to global economic growth.
Entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation, Aditi. It's a powerful force that can reshape industries, transform lives, and make this world a better place. We are committed to supporting student entrepreneurs on their journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and networks they need to succeed.
Now, before we begin our show, let's take a moment to introduce our guest today. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome Professor Dr. Dilip Nandkeolyar, Director, Institute of Marketing and Management, to this special event. We are truly honored by your presence today, and we are thrilled to have you share this momentous occasion with us. So, welcome, Dr. Dilip.
Thank you, Aditi. And it was a glorious kind of, introduction you've given me. I hope during this session I'm able to justify some of it. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. So, the first question for you is, could you please share a brief overview of your professional journey and the key milestones that have shaped your career?
So after completing my, management program, I jumped into rather my graduation. My graduation, I jumped into working. Although it had been a rule in my family that when a child is born, he's expected to first do his PG. Somehow I broke that mold, and breaking molds has been, I think, all along my strong point or weak point or whatever you like to call it. So I joined a tire company called CET. At that particular point in time, it was considered to be the most preferred choice of most, automobile customers. And I began my career as a sales officer in, working in the state of Haryana, and with a lot of knocks, here and there, uh, learned the art of selling, and I think that has stood me in good stead. Okay. Uh, from Haryana, I went to now what is known as Chhattisgarh. Those days it was part of Madhya Pradesh. From there, I got an opportunity to, you know, rise up in my career. And if I had been in CET, it might have taken me 10, 12 years to reach that level. So I joined those times government-owned company called Vikrant Tires. And I was then posted to look after the entire state of Rajasthan, and I had a team working with me this time. So before that, I was a lone ranger. Then I became again. It was great to build careers, build people, and make them see that selling is the first step to doing anything. I mean, I was able to in Rajasthan, put together that team who worked in silos, accounts man looking only after accounts, a salesperson looking after sales, a go down person looking after, only the how to supply, what transport and all. We were able to come together and say that, okay, we need to cater to the customer. And there are two ways to come, the larger way is to market to the customer by providing so many other things. But I said, let's take first step, and that is we need to sell to the customer. So everybody is there for selling. The end result was that in the 9 months I was there, We were doing very badly in a market of 13,000 truck tires. Vikrant used to be very happy to sell only about 100 to 150 tires when I took charge. By the time I left, we were doing somewhere near 700 tires, okay, and it was growing. But I was then transferred to my home state, which is Bihar, to look after Bihar. And then that time, Bihar was not, was one. So it was Bihar and Jharkhand and the Kingdom of Nepal. So there also, obviously, doing the same thing. Now, there we were doing reasonably well. In a 11,000 tire market, we were doing about 1,200 tires. But the problem there was that our credit, the outstanding receivables were over 90 days when the company norm was uh, only 30 days. So we took strategic action, and again, it was spearheaded by the salespeople and the entire team trying to. There were two offices, one in Patna and the other one was in Ranchi. And of course, we remotely tried to manage Nepal. Okay. So again, it was we had to sell the idea to the distribution channels and partners that unless they can pay us in 30 days, uh, it would become an issue. Most of them responded over time. We were able to bring down our outstandings, and some of them were in 15 days. It took us approximately 6 months to do that, 5 or 6 months. Okay. And then we were going, and we then became, you know, third largest company there after Modi Tires and MRF. Okay. So from there, I mean, again, I happened to have a chance meeting with the managing director of Standard Batteries, and he offered me a job to. I guess I would still say it is my dream location, Mumbai, to look after entire Western India. There, the problem again was that we were not able to sell, and we had a very, very powerful competitor in Excite. Okay. So where Excite sold 10,000 batteries in a month in the entire region, we were very happy if we touched 1,000 batteries in any month. There was no averages. So, and while Excite was almost like cash and carry, or the revenue stream or the revenue flow was extremely well controlled for them. For us, there were places where the channel partners thought, what if you want to sell, you have to give. So we took a very focused kind of a strategy, and we said, okay, we will not operate anywhere, but wherever we will operate, we'll aim for 100% market share. Now you see what that means. That simply means withdrawing your force from everywhere, not sacking them, but concentrating them on one place to sell, 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 and sell. This also meant sometimes rotating people who were in operations, people who were in accounts to go back into the field, and we would celebrate their victories as well when they sold. So it all became like that. And then we started selling very well. And mind you, Standard Battery went in for a 1 year lockout. And any company, all of you are aware, any company that goes for a lockout for a period of 1 year is wiped out of the market. This was the time when, of course, I must credit my boss, Mr. Bakshi, and of course the managing director, Mr. V.R. Sinha, who said that nothing will change, traveling will happen the way it happens, everything. So they did not cut down on the marketing budget. Now, this empowered us to make sure that the salesman was building relationship, picking up insights all the time. Picking up data is all right, but insights you pick up when you meet people and you talk to them and you say, oh my God, this is happening. And then you go and sort of cross check with people and then convert it to data, which is what the salespeople do best. Sitting digital marketing and all that don't do that. Okay, this face to face meeting, we are still human beings, we are still gregarious animals. We need to meet, and that's those days, of course, all this electronic stuff was not there. And to date, I must confess that I am a bit of a technology dinosaur. Okay, so we just went around until we opened up. It took us 3 months to settle down and start everything properly. When the factory had started, but there is a lag when the market starts responding. In exactly 3 months' time, from an average of uh, 3,000 batteries that we had reached before the lockdown, we actually tripled our top thing, and we started doing 10,000 batteries. Majority of that coming from the market share of Excite. Okay. And this was because we were just there that we will sell right, we'll not sell dishonestly, we'll target our customers well. One of the things that happened out of that focused sales strategy was the areas where we were not working. For instance, big Mumbai is a big market. So we decided where could we work. Okay. And we realized that who is the person who would be troubled most when the battery fails. Okay, there are, if you know the battery market, it's divided into unorganized sector and the organized sector. The unorganized sector is for commercial people who like taxi drivers and all, who would rather buy cheaper batteries and change again and again. But the personal vehicle sector goes for the organized sector, which was almost at that particular point in time twice the price of the unorganized batteries. So we realized that going to areas like Pedder Road, Malabar Hills, these rich areas doesn't really help because most of them had chauffeur, and the chauffeur would say, "Sir, battery is kharab ho gaya, and now he'll say, go and get it changed." And then the dealer who offered them 100 or 150 rupees, the driver who would go there, if he also gave chai and samosa along, then it becomes a driver's. So the dealers would ask, would you be able to do that? And I realized that that is like auctioning, and my pockets aren't as fat as that of Exide. So I didn't want to do that. I mean, if I gave, I said, if I had to give, then I had to give 150. What was there in the rule book that Exide won't give 200, and then I gave 250, and over a period of time, since my pocket was smaller, I'd end up losing everything. So that's why like good salespeople, we started identifying the needs, where would we be needed most, and then wooing those customers. We realized that the Andheri RTO is, fairly upmarket, but not so upmarket in the sense that most of the people drive themselves. Then we started campaigning. That was from Borivali right up to Khar. We started campaigning out in the fields, meeting, offering free battery checkup, which is done by everybody. So we also did, accepting that we put up these stalls and things like that. And we would say, please let us do. We would go into the residential societies and do it. The idea was, of course, to provide and create a goodwill, but more importantly, it was to identify which person would be needing battery very soon, and then start wooing that customer. Many of them would say that, look, I can't, if you can come at 7 o'clock in the morning, is fine. If you can't come at that time, or I don't know, I mean, I'm in the office. So we would then carry the battery to the office or wherever he said and whatever time he said. from the dealers who were located there, not harming them, not harming, I mean, we didn't overshoot them, trying to build a clientele. Over a period of time, you'd be happy to know that we had about 75 to 80% of the market share of that particular RTO. Now, what this did was that the other RTO, I mean, the dealerships in other RTO, were watching what was happening, and then they say, "Why aren't you coming to us? Why aren't you selling to us?" We said, "Look, you were too stiff, and we couldn't manage the terms that you wanted. So we want to sell to you, but if if those are the terms, then we can't do it. We are a small company." No, 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 no. Let us know what is your term, and we will deal with your term. End result was we covered most of Bombay, and we said it would be cash and carry. From being a 60-day credit company, we changed over in those 3 months, and we went into almost three times, in fact, more than three times the sales. Then I got, of course, I was awarded very well, and you'd be surprised or glad to know that every member of the team, without exception, made the cut, and whatever incentives were available to them for selling, every member got it, every without an exception, which is, I believe, one of my biggest successes. Having done that, I got, of course, I was awarded and very richly awarded with a flat in Mumbai, okay, which I still own. I don't live there, but that's one of the trophies I love to keep. Very sentimental about that company. From there, I went over to, you know, Gulf to work with Pirelli tires. Again, Pirelli wasn't doing very well because of very high price, and it was distributorship led model. So what we did was I mean, of course, there was a lot of marketing that went into it, but there was very high pressure selling that we engaged in, meeting people, sheikhs and all. There are issues of privacy all the time. So meeting them, and we were not only now, we said that, okay, we'll break free from the B2B selling, and we will try and get into the individual ones, that is B2C selling. And we got the distribution partners that we had throughout Oman and, UAE, uh, to concentrate on that. And the end result was that Pirelli very soon became, you know, probably the number two largest selling uh, company there. And then we went into one marketing aspect, which was starting to open exclusive showrooms, okay, which was the first time, and it worked so well that Pirelli used that model in Japan, where uh, Pirelli now, if I know now, I mean, it's a very old time, but at that time it was the only, non-Japanese tire manufacturer to have made the cut in Japan, okay, using this model. Then I came back and I did some little work for a cement company, but the heart was to start out somewhere on my own. And so what I'd seen some of this in Europe, and while working with Pirelli, I recast it to make it an Indian model. Okay, and I mean, I call that project. It's still close to my heart, and a lot of my money is spent. I'm looking for huge rounds of funds to make it happen again. Uh, I call it virtual vehicle ownership service, and a lot of people who write that you were before your time and all. To me, it was actually renting electric vehicles in a particular way. And the idea was to replace car ownership into a shared ownership. And that when we launched, uh, you know, uh, we really were doing very well, in the sense that we had taken 10 lines, and I can still show you the phone bills. For the first 15 days, there was no single outgoing call. We got inquiries after inquiries, and we were not able to cater to the needs of the customer because we did not. We were still starting up, and it became too big, and the company was not able to support me there. So they realized that this can't, and I realized that they won't be able to support me here. So I told them that, okay, let's shut it down for a minute. And when I can raise enough funds, I will come back to you. So I was invited to head the marketing of Reva instead. And there, we used this model to sell in London. And up to the time I left Reva, that was the largest market Reva had anywhere, including India. So from there, I came back and then again tried to revive this with electric scooters. Same story. We were not able to, and this time my partner were Electrotherm, who were Gujarat-based company.
Dr. Nandkeolyar, since
Yes.
you have such a diverse experience into the field of entrepreneurship, I would like to know, like, what are your beliefs regarding the most critical factor that actually do foster a successful startup ecosystem in India? Not the
See,
most.
basically the thing that I was trying to tell you is first, of course, the need identification, the pain that one feels. Okay, and it must always start with the entrepreneur himself. Has he felt the pain? Okay, if he feels the pain, like when I was trying to do this in Pune, uh, the public transport system was bad, and there were no taxis. Now you have Ola, Uber, but that time there was nothing. So you had these auto rickshaws who would try to fleece you, etc., etc., and or they would just say we are not going. Okay, so I realized that we need to provide. I mean, and I needed to, since I had returned, repatriated to India, I needed to move to meet people and start doing things. And it became quite a bit of a challenge. So I started asking around people in my society in Pune and wherever I met. And most of them said they are facing this. So once I identified that, then it was putting the business model together and then selling it to investors, selling it to government authorities because they did not know how to give licenses. And since we were going to be quite visible, I didn't want to do anything illegal, etc., etc. So it was sales, sales, sales. Why I would say the most important thing or the fulcrum point for whatever I've done while working for the corporates and during my uh, entrepreneurship journey, it was selling because that's what made me get past the barriers. Often, like I say, that I meet some young business, students, youngsters who really have brilliant idea. They have even researched it very well, because that pain started with them, and then they know the pain and they are able to really pick up the insights, and they put together a fantastic business plan, and then it doesn't succeed. It doesn't succeed because they're shy of going to meet people. They're shy of asking, please try my product. There seems to be some kind of a, I don't know what to call, some kind of a, mind block that if I ask somebody, I'm begging, which is not true. You know, in fact, salespeople are the ones who really create the change on the ground. So that is what I did. And that is what I have been advising all the SMEs who I have been consulting, that do not shy and everybody should dare be to sell. In fact, Peter Drucker, is famous for having said that a business has only two functions: marketing and innovation. Okay. And when he's saying, I'm just qualifying that the most important part or the largest part of marketing is selling. Okay. So that's my qualification to that. But if you will notice, he said first it's marketing and then innovation. which means to say that any new product, whether it's good or service, must first be designed in the market. And who can do this best? A salesman, because he meets and he picks up that unsaid, the latent needs of the customers. And if we listen to that, the chances of failure are very low, almost non-existence. And you will see whichever company has stayed away from this. Maybe if the need was very powerful, they grew and they grew, and then they finally went off. So I think that is the most important message I would like to give to every young entrepreneur.
Great. So, can you highlight on some of the common challenges which are faced by startups in India and how people do overcome that challenges?
So the first challenge I already told you that there is this mindset or a mind block that they need to reach out to the people, ask for business. Nobody gives you without asking, and therefore that's the first. And if things start working, the next challenge really comes is how do you kind of control your growth? You suddenly start, burning up too much funds that I will be doing this, and there are unicorns which have failed now. They just have gone overboard in doing what they need to do, and then there is no money. So financial, the next thing after selling is financial prudence that they must have, and this is a challenge which, it's a kind of a silent challenge which don't. It's almost like diabetes. It's so sweet, and you don't know where all you're getting hurt. So these are the two major challenge. Then, the third one is how quickly are you able to sense the market and pivot, decides how you continue or sustain your business and growth. Most companies now come out with version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, iPhone now, I believe, is 17, is only because they're listening to the customer and they're going out in the market and meeting. They have their own ways, but that's the third challenge that most small enterprises, they feel if it's working, why recreate, why reinvent, why innovate. So I think these are three major challenges, and the rest automatically falls into place. If the leader, if the entrepreneur is focused, his team automatically gets focused. So any other thing that you would like me to?
Can you throw some light on educational institutions better support budding entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's really a a sad point, because the education, higher education in India, and the world of entrepreneurs, or the world of you know corporate world, should I say, live in their own silos. Okay, so the education world, since I'm now part of that, seems to think that, look, these are naughty boys, they break all the rules, and this is not how you play. I'm reminded of a Hindi film song, where the on the screen there was, it was sung by Manna Day and Kishore Kumar, and on the film it was Mahmood and Sunil Dutt, who was uh, lip syncing what Kishore Kumar sang. This was a song called Ek Chatur Nar Badi Hoshyar. There was a time when obviously Kishore Kumar was supposed to be an inferior singer to Mahmood, who was really, really one of those gurus. And then he realized the only way he could beat this guru, that is Mahmood, was by breaking the rules. And therefore, when he would sing Nar, then he would sing Chatur or something like that. And then he said, Ghoda bolo ya chatur bolo, kuch ek bolo, because he was playing dramatically right with a harmonium, whereas Kishore Kumar was not doing that. And that shift, that pivoting was is what is required today. You, if you play only by what are the standard practices, then you don't create. And the first, uh, you know, uh, what should I say? The first identity of an entrepreneur is that he can innovate, he can recreate, and therefore believe that it can be a better world. So if that is true, then education and corporate and entrepreneur need to come together. The government has provided lot many things, but as usual, most of the time, the larger vision is there. The operational part or the implementation part is where it has not been looked at. Now, how they can bring the industry and the academia together is something which is at just now it's anybody's guess. So what I'm trying to do is, okay, knowledge is supposed to be our responsibility in the academia. Therefore, we will bend backwards. We will not say that you are brats, and you will not say that we are archaic. So we have started approaching companies rather than get into incubators and things like that. We have started approaching, asking them for small projects and getting our students to first get into that and then create, first become an entrepreneur before you can think in terms of entrepreneur. So that's how I am trying to drive this institute, which I.
That's really a great initiative, Dr. Nandkeolyar. And since Aditi ji has raised the topic of higher education and entrepreneurship development, correlating them, I would like to ask you a question. Like,
Yes.
how can exactly young entrepreneurs balance the pursuit of the business goals with the challenges of the financial constraints that they face in the startup journey?
So this is where we are. At least this is what I'm doing in my school. We are approaching out to various larger companies and looking at some pain point that they may have, which they could solve through. I mean, for instance, I'll give you an example. I'm sure you have a TV at home and it works on a remote. All right, all of us have, and invariably it's a very simple thing I'm talking about. Invariably, the remote is always under the cushion or somewhere else when we really need it, and there is a fight in the family where you get. I've told you always keep it there, or that's a pain felt everywhere. So we are trying to approach a TV manufacturing company that let us build. I mean, and this is not an original idea, so to say. The innovation doesn't have to be always original. It has to just address a pain point. So I happened to see one, keychain, which if it is lost, you could press a button and it'll start, glittering and making a noise. So I mean, this is how some of my students came up. Why can't we do that for the remote? Now think of this idea. And it'll first go in as a OEM, and it might be for at least a short while a USP for any TV manufacturer. Okay, so such small projects we are trying to take up, build up. This is only one of the examples. These are all sensors, and that's the play is only on around sensors. So these are small things that we are trying to take up, and that will give the confidence to the students, because again, this is not to be done by just one. In fact, I have said that please walk out. Fortunately, where we are located, we are just in the neighborhood of IIT Delhi. So I said, please build a network there so that engineering part they can contribute, and therefore the team forms by itself. Okay. We will maybe some of them would go into incubations. Uh, IIT has it, so they could, or they would start out on their own. So ideas have to come, and we are encouraging that in our, in fact, what we are trying to do is give a PGDM in entrepreneurship. The signups are less because the hustle is more. I mean that again, the hustle is mainly selling. So the other thing that we are trying to do is take up some projects where even if you're a finance person, even if you're an HR person or operation person, you have to do that project as a seller. So that's what we are trying to do, because we are not that big a school where we can start an incubation center and get the funds from the government, etc. So we'll have to look at things a little differently.
So could you elaborate on the importance of mentorship in entrepreneurship and like how it can be effectively integrated into the entrepreneurship development programs?
So this is what we are trying to do. I mean, there is no doubt, not only in entrepreneurship, but in every stage of your life, even your personal life, you need a mentor. I mean, I've come this far, even in the corporate world where I left off as an MD of a company, uh, mentor I needed all the time. Mentor is somebody who you can bounce your ideas with, who lets you, and he is non-judgmental. So mentoring is a very important thing, and I am contributing to that in my one of my alma mater, the Thapar University, where all the alums have been asked to mentor students, and I take on about 4, 5. And like me around the world, it's a very old institution. Like me, many are mentoring the students from in Thapar University or Thapar engineering colleges. Okay, so most of us in Thapar University are trying to encourage entrepreneurship, and therefore we are trying to slowly and gradually nudge them to give. It's not that the youngsters don't have. I mean, look at your own SK associate and group. It's such an innovative idea. I'm sure it couldn't have happened without mentoring, from whatever I know. Okay. Would you give me a minute? I think there is a call. I must just shut it. रीता हम तुमको आधे घंटे में फोन करते हैं आधे घंटे में फोन Sorry, that was from my wife. She's in Canada right now. Uh, so mentoring is something which is extremely important, particularly even at the ideation stage, where you can, you know, you can go to a mentor and you can discuss even if it's a stupid idea. You're sure that you are not going to be judged, you're not going to be laughed at, you're not going to be, and that gives you the confidence to go on. See, the difference between mentoring and coaching is mentoring allows you to, express yourself, and mentor and the mentee kind of can sail together. Coaching says you did this right, you did that wrong, watching from the outside. Teaching is the other way around. This is how you go about it. So mentoring is probably the cornerstone for any kind of entrepreneurship.
How do you think, Dilip, that social entrepreneurship can actually be a tool for youth empowerment?
Okay, this is something which we talk in my classes. I say we have one Mr. Ratan Naval Tata. Now, the classical economic theory says the purpose of any enterprise or firm is to make money. Okay. So we have one Mr. Ratan Naval Tata. He makes lots of money. And we have one Mr. Dawood Ibrahim. He makes a lot of money too. But how do we, you know, kind of, what is the kind of respect that we give to either of the two? One we genuinely respect from the heart, the other one is because of the fear. Again, the respect is given, but is given for two this thing. Now, social entrepreneurship is about that. It's about bringing in, and even with before these words like CSR and corporate social entrepreneurship became popular, Tatas were already doing it. Jamshedji Tata, if you go to Jamshedpur, and I think you were in Jamshedpur, I mean, people there worship Tatas. That's not because there is a lot of employment given, but there is a lot of development work that was done right around Jamshedpur. Okay, and this was much before people came. So India, we already have an example, even when the before the world started talking about it. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, the best way to be an entrepreneur is to be a social entrepreneur. I think you mute.
That's actually a point because again, Tatas have actually run and built an entire city from the scratch, which was actually a village back down 100 or 200 years. And
Not
still
only
today, even
not
the
only built
government
a
of India
city.
actually does lesser for Jamshedpur than the Tatas actually do for us.
That's what. Not only built the city, they built
Exactly.
they built the entire society there. I mean,
Exactly. Even
even the
XLRI
tribal.
Jamshedpur, one of the leading tier 1 B schools of India, has
That's
been
right.
again built on their sponsorships, grants, and fundings, and
That's right.
even the
That's
land and everything has been sponsored by them.
Look at
So,
them. I mean, that is what they did in a remote place when Jamshedji Tata went there. That was remote. But they
exactly.
also did something like that in Mumbai. Tata Institute of Social Service
TISS.
Management.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, TISS is completely funded, run, and completely founded by Tatas.
That's right.
XLR is not founded by Tatas, it's founded by a Christian society. But
That's right.
rather, it was sponsored and completely supported by Tatas, you could say.
That's right. So this is what I'm saying. Look at the
Yeah.
kind of work that they have done in and around Pune. The issue is that if there is an enterprise and if it can't merge itself with the society,
That's the point. If
then
any
then
entrepreneur is actually not doing something for the society at the end of the day, there's no value at all created by the
that's right.
organization.
That's right.
Actually,
So
no organization can survive without doing anything for society because products or
exactly.
services.
No, no,
End of the day, people individually can't.
I'll slightly disagree. But people like Ibrahim Daud, the D company does survive, so without doing anything for the society, they do survive. But if you want to be an entrepreneur who is genuinely respected from the heart,
That's the
then the
point.
only thing that you can become is a social entrepreneur. You may call yourself edupreneur or whatever, but it is unless you can contribute to the society that it doesn't make sense. So I'm saying that, if you want to start a business, this startup thing, think not of profit. Think how much value can you bring
Exactly.
to the table. If you
That's the
bring the
point
table,
because
everything
the
will.
end of the day, people are all that matters, be it elections and politics or be it business. People are the
Everywhere, everywhere. See we when we went to B schools, we have been told the famous and to date everywhere we are talking about the four P's: the product, the price, the promotion, and the place. We have been talking about it. The world has moved to four C's, and now it has evolved to what is known as the four E's. So, what are the four E's? And it's not really the marketing. This is how a salesman like me sees it. First thing, the product. Nobody buys products anymore. Everybody buys a value. Okay. So the first E is an exchange. Okay. The second E is the price. Sorry, second E is an exchange. The first E is the experience. The totality of the experience is what? And it is before sales, during sales, and after sales. So the first E, the product itself is an experience. Nobody buys for a price. Otherwise, How come? I mean, if it was that, Maruti Suzuki Swift sells for 6, 7, 8 lakhs, and a Volkswagen Beetle, if you go inside and sit in both the cars, there isn't much difference, and both do the same thing, sells for over 30 lakhs. It's the experience, it's the exchange, it's the value that it gives, it upgrades or whatever. Now, that's what selling must be. I mean, when I go to sell, whenever I sold, even when I was working in a company which was a little bit of an underdog, I just did not rush into selling. I tried to understand how could I fit my values to excite the other person or to make him feel upgraded. Okay, so the third P is everywhere today. Middle of the night, you can order. You don't have to have a real brick and mortar store, but you still need the brick and mortar store. So it's everywhere. You can't wish away the brick and mortar stores because those who were only in the e-com have now started opening shops, and those who were in only in the shops are now starting to open e-com sites. So it's everywhere now. So the place is everywhere. And finally, the last P, promotion. I keep asking my students that from your home to the institute, when you come in, how many hoardings do you see on the road? Okay, they say many. No, I say in management or in business, you don't talk many, you name a number. So somebody says 10, somebody says 15, whatever, whatever. And I ask how many of them you remember. Can you tell me some of them? And usually I find that they don't remember more than one or two. Okay. So I ask, why is that? You have thought about why is it? So this big word, which I again introduce as the oldest FM channel in the world, WIIFM, what's in it for you, me? So those hoardings are remembered where there is something, may not be that product, maybe that is the landmark from where you say turn right, left, but that's in it for me. That's the value that I like. So slowly and gradually, advertising big time, etc., is good thing to do if you have the money. But it is now creating evangelists, creating advocates for you. Okay. So we talk a lot about influencer marketing. Only today I was reading that now they are losing importance. They want individuals like you and me to talk about it. See how marketing is moving about as fast as technology is. And that's because man himself is so social. And sometimes I say, please don't mind it. Ladies, this is like wooing a girlfriend. You never know when she gets put off. So you have to be very careful with them, and that you cannot do sitting in the air-conditioned chambers. You have to go out and meet them. You can't Facebook and WhatsApp and woo a girl. You finally have to go and meet. You know, and vice versa. I mean, even for the girls, have to go and meet. They can't get the guy of their dream, without doing it, and that's what selling must be, because that is there. That's exactly where a salesperson contributes to entrepreneurship, contributes to the society. He connects them. So, how wonderful it would be if the entrepreneur himself is a seller. When he goes out into the market himself, then I mean,
That's actually a core part, Dilip. Like entrepreneur has to be a seller. If you
that's
can't
right.
be a seller, you can't sell your shares to investors. You can't raise fund. If you can't be a seller, you can't sell your product at the initial stage for the prototype testing. If you
That's right.
can't be a seller, you can't even sell your, like openings to people who are like waiting to get hired by you. You can't sell literally anything. And that's
Exactly.
the
And he has
blank
to be
point.
a seller throughout. Like, I mean, I saw one poster, the leader knows the way and shows the way. So if he goes out into the market, the team that he leads or will eventually lead would also be molded in that culture. And this is what I'm trying to do with my students, and also those who come to him for mentoring or for consulting, where I tell them that you go out yourself and then let me. There are some people with whom I go out myself to demonstrate it, that this is what we picked up. There's a student of mine in Pune, again in electric vehicle. They were tottering, but now he's doing very well. And he realized that he must need to go out himself. There are three partners, all the three promoters are going out and meeting people themselves. Okay. Coming back to the drawing board, doing things. I mean, and drawing board not only for the product, but for the entire business model, even the financial model. Everything. They are going out in the market, testing it out, checking it out, picking up the insights. And oftentimes, if particularly when you are a technical person, you know what your product can do and what improvements can be made. But I, being a non-technical person, I have a desire which I can't express because I can't even fathom what can be made. But if I were to say that I wish this could happen, and voila, as they say, you make it happen, then it is no more customer satisfaction. It is definitely customer delight. Now, where do you pick up that information? Can you pick it up in reviews? Can you pick it up in, I mean, tell me where you pick up unless we talk face to face. I will tell you what, I mean, Reva was uh, manufacturing at that time about 600 cars as against Maruti manufacturing 800, Maruti 800 being 20,000 cars. We were not even Davids against that Goliath. We were, if there is a, you could call us nano Davids. So what could we do? And therefore, we first limited, focused, brought in the, we don't want to be a national company. We'll be in Karnataka. Then we said Bangalore. Even there, what was 600? The neighborhood Maruti dealer was selling more than what we were. So we said, how do we segment? And then came the idea of, when I analyzed the data, I realized that 80 to 85% of the vehicles, Reva vehicles, were either bought by women or for women. So that was our market. So came the idea, why don't we relaunch Reva as a woman's car? Now, how do we make it a woman's car? It's just first there was a lot of resistance in the board, etc., etc. Slowly persisting that this is what we must do if we want to be at least known. I mean, the volume we cannot increase immediately, so at least let us be known. Then the board finally agreed. He said, okay, then the male buyers. I said, see, that is what do we have to lose? At the most, we lose 600 cars. But if we were attacked by Maruti, they'd stand to lose 20,000 cars. Because 80% of their clientele was male. So they can't have a woman's car. And I said, then what is there in the rule book to say that we can't come out with another model, which we can? Reva was the name of our MD's mother, and the name of the father was Sudarshan. So, yeah, what is in the rule book to say we take out another car, a more muscular version, and call it Sudarshan when we are in the right thing? So, that is the first thing. Then we went around talking to ladies, and I was a lucky person meeting all the beautiful ladies in Bangalore, and uh, socializing with them. We made a lot of, shall I say, girlfriends who are still in touch. And I would keep asking them and picking up insights and then, filtering them, bringing them into an order. And we discovered that there were things that could be exclusively put in the car which women would value. Now, some of the things, the Indian, they said the Indian attire does not provide for a collar or something for women. So when they tie a seat belt, it cuts on their neck. And you will often see women hold the seat belt a little. So it was a simple thing. If you could put a pad which doesn't hurt them, Then most Indian attire do not provide for pockets, and women have to carry the house key all the time because they are house, they are the ladies of the house, and the key gets. So this insight was first picked up where my friend had to travel all the way from, Nariman Point to Juhu because his wife forgot the key somewhere. She lost the key and she couldn't enter the house. So I was sharing this tale in a pub with a group of ladies, and they said, "Yeah, this could happen to us. We also have the same problem. So what do we do?" We made a small kind of a drawer, which was the, what do you say, combination locked, okay, where this key can be placed, and we made it slightly more fancy and beautiful for women to feel nice. The third thing they came up with, that when we are driving, wearing heels, what did they say? It's something called, you could tell me, it's something called pencil heel or something like that. And then it makes the calf, it pains. So while driving, that pains. So what did we do? We were staying in hotels, and you have those cloth, slippers in the room. We made a small drawer which could fit in a pair of heels, and we put this thing. So when you're driving, take out your heels, put it there, and wear this and drives. Like this, we discovered 20 such things that women wished that if that was in the car, it would be wonderful. Went back to the factory to say, how many of these can you convert? They said 10 day after tomorrow. How much would be the cost? They told me between 1,000 and 1,500 that time. It may be more now. Went back to the same very ladies, about 50, 60 of them. If we were able to provide these things, not exactly saying what we were doing, how much are you willing to pay? Obviously, ladies are best bargainers that I know. I've seen my mother, I've seen my wife. So they said, but why should we pay? You should do it and all. I said, no, no, it costs and all. After a little bit of cajoling, they told me that anywhere between 7,500 to 10,000 they are willing to pay. Now tell me, does it make entrepreneurial sense or not to convert that car into a lady's car and then come about? I had to leave for personal reasons, so that really didn't happen. But then I was so gratified to see Hero do it when they advertise, why should boys have all the fun? Their scooter called Pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
So these are some of the things that entrepreneurs, see, the innovation cannot come unless you meet the customer. And innovation does not have to be only the product. One of the innovations that we did, that if we were to deliver you a Reva car, okay, you go and take a car delivery, they will give you a box of sweet, they'll give you one, coconut to, and then they will put, and they'll give you a big key and things like that. This is being done by everybody. So he said, what do we do? It will cost us a little more. We got a 6-piece band, and we said, sir, you don't really have to come to us. If you want to come, take the drive, but let us reach this car to your place. Okay, so most of them, because primarily they were ladies, they would say, yeah, that's cool. And we said, we will not just deliver the car, we will want every member of your family to be there, okay, uh, so that we can tell how to use this car. So about 500 meters from there, we used to have this band. And then when we brought the car there, the band would play, and the whole, colony would probably watch what's coming. Okay, now this is an idea which I actually picked up from a restaurant called Touche in Mumbai. They're the pioneers of, what's that? Sizzlers. And even now, when there is a sizzler being ordered by anybody, the entire, restaurant turns around and looks at it because it makes a noise. So he thought, let's make a noise. Let's give them a good feel. and we had balloons, etc., moving all over the place. Okay, and then our service engineer would turn by turn get the members of the family to drive it to show what it. So it was more than about 45 minutes spent usually. So these were small things which you can do as innovation that can touch the heart. And then we got people, I mean, these same ladies brought their friends, and we stopped. We then started operating only out of our showroom. We didn't really have to go out. So that was the fourth E, the evangelism.
That was really great insight, Dr. Nankeolyar. Actually, like these are the very same cases which actually to give us an insight into the startup ecosystem, because again in startup too, just like research, everything is unpredictable. So we need to keep discovering new insights and then record them on documents so that our future generations can maybe learn from them if the trends don't change by then again. So moving ahead, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Dilip Nandkeolyar, Director of Institute of Marketing and Management, for being our guest for today at Conversation with Consultants. Your presence and engagement has helped it make a success. Thank you for providing your insight into your inspirational journey. Further, we would also like to thank our audience for listening patiently throughout the event. Thank you everyone for joining with us today, and we hope that everyone has gained some knowledge from this event.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you for inviting me. This is actually the second time that I'm on your platform. First time I was a speaker, and that was almost like Man Ki Baat. This is a better format.
Sure. And do not worry, it will be a third time too soon if you and Aditi to collaborate and have a good call in
I
5 10 minutes.
ask Aditi. I have always collaborated. I have never said no.
Sure, sure,
But
sure.
that's my mission in life is to. This is one way I want to contribute to the society. So
That's an excellent opportunity for us. Thank you. You have a great day. Take care,
thank
everyone.
you all the listeners, all the participants here. I hope I have helped you all.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Moving ahead, we are excited to announce our next episode will be held next weekend. So we're hoping to meet you soon again. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Dilip, for coming and joining with us and sharing your journey. Thank you so much.